Welcome back to today's episode of the Key and Mang Audio Experience. I'm your host, Mang. As always, with my fellow co-host, Key. Key, what's Gucci?
What's up? How are you?
I'm good. I'm trying to be like your shirt and get 1% better.
Me too. That was a motto, however you say it, motto for today.
I like it. I like it. Small steps for a long period of time.
Consistency.
hmm And I think that's a good segue. That wasn't even on purpose. It's kind of funny how this works. But trying to talk about today's episode is talking about like balance. Balancing all the things we have going on, work, relationships, hobbies, sports, entertainment, entrepreneurship. There's a lot that we have going on in today's society, and sometimes it's hard to feel like you have a sense of anything, like control over anything that's going on. So, what y'all think about this? Ever feel like no matter how much you plan, there's never enough time? Raise your hand. I'll raise my hand. That's me.
And
You got work pulling you in one direction. You got relationships. You got your friends that need attention. You got the things that you enjoy to do. They just keep getting pushed. Sometimes they just keep getting pushed to when you have time. That when you have time turns into never happens. Like it never happens. It's a constant juggling act. And sometimes it feels impossible to keep all the balls in the air. But here's the real question. Can you actually have it all? Or is balance just a myth? In this episode, we're diving into time management strategies, how to prioritize without feeling guilty, and the lessons we've learned along the way about making it all work without burning out. So let's dive in.
so, first things first, I think when it comes to balance, I'm just going to give my opinion on the question if balance exists and have it all, because I know you're waiting for it, or if it's just a myth. I don't think that, I wouldn't say it's a myth, and I do think you can have it all, but I think you can have it all only in seasons. So I feel like there's always going to be specific times of your life where you're focusing on specific things and you have like family, friends, relationships, and maybe like health that are always on the like something that's a priority and you can find balance among that. But then you have other things in your life that you may want to dedicate time to. And I think those are the things that will shift. So I think you have your main like staples that are always the same. And then I think other things go in rotation through seasons in your life. So is it really balance? I mean, I guess technically, yes, you have balance among those things, but when you consider your entire life, I don't think everything is always balanced. Like you always have different ratios.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Something like a
You weren't expecting that.
no, I think I was expecting that. That answer I was expecting. Maybe when we dive into a little more, we'll see if I'm expecting the answer to come up with. But no, I think yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think we have buckets that we have to fill, and the necessary ones like let's see, eating, work, hobbies, relationships, you have to pick how much you want to put into each one. And sometimes it works out that you can put a good amount into each because your other responsibilities might not be as high, but other times you have to pick and choose maybe one or two, and the other ones are going to not be filled as much. And that's okay. I think, like you mentioned, there's going to be times where you have the opportunity to fill the other buckets, but sometimes it's you gotta pick, you really have to pick one or two because if you don't, then you just get spread too thin and then things become overwhelming. Then that's why I think the question of when you have time and then it shifts into it's never, we haven't linked up or you haven't done this, whatever, in a long time. It's because you feel like you're spreading yourself way too thin. So I agree with you on that for sure.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to balancing things, regardless of whatever bucket you're talking about, I think a big tool that's helpful is time blocking, and I know when people hear the word time blocking, they may think that you have to have your schedule like time blocked for every hour, but I think you can like more so be a little bit more loose with that and just have a list of things that you're going to do around the general time, and just go based on that so that you're a little bit more fluid. Because if things do come up and you're supposed to work out at 9 o'clock, but now you got to work out at 10, I think it still sets you up better to have balance than if you were to just go through your day without having any plan or intention of what you want to do. So it doesn't have to be to the T, but I think having some sort of structure around what time you want to do things is helpful. And then if things do come up, you can always change it. But going in with a plan is definitely helpful.
Yeah, I agree with this. I think early on, you see people like, oh, this is my morning routine. I wake up at 5 a.m. I have my coffee at 5:15. I meditate, I journal all before 6 a.m. and then I get started with my day. And I'm like, that's great for you. That don't work for me. That don't work for me. And I think I got hooked in the trap of trying to be like what do what these quote unquote successful people are doing. Not realizing that my life is different from their life. They have different things. They might have other people helping them. They might have way better systems in place. They might have a lot more time throughout the day to be able to attack different things so they can start waking up early and get their exercise in or whatever their routine is. And I think I started to realize that, yeah, I don't have to be on the dot like that. I don't really function well like that anyway. I think, like you said, I have an idea of the things I need to get done for the day, and those things get done. If it's on time, great. If it's a little later than I thought, that's fine, but it got done before the end of the day. And so I think picking those one or two things, and making sure that they get done and starting small with that and making sure you can complete the thing you said you're going to complete. You keep the promise to yourself, you build your own self-confidence by doing the things that you say you're going to do and then executing it. And then you can start to add more as you get better at handling the one to two things.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Something else when it comes to balancing time and getting things done, there's something called Parkinson's law, which basically just means that whatever time you allot to complete a task is the time it's going to take you. So, say if you give yourself 2 weeks to finish a piece of content, and that piece of content can really take you 2 hours because you allotted 2 weeks, you're going to fill up that 2 week time to get it done. And this is why people thrive with shorter deadlines. So if you give yourself 90 minutes to complete something as opposed to an entire day, you'll get it done a lot faster than you initially had set out. So this is a good way to build off of either blocking time or blocking specific days for specific activities, because we're gonna always take longer than we think just because we set out with that intention. So if you can give yourself shorter periods of time to work and really lock in and focus, I think you can use your time better, and then that'll allow you to have a little bit more balance. Because a lot of times when we feel like we don't have balance, is because we're spending too much time obsessed with like one task or one area of our life. So we can just allocate a specific period of time for that and just work on that only during that time and then move to a different area of your life. I think that can create more balance for you, or at least the perception of balance, and not just putting all your efforts in one basket.
Yeah. Everything, I feel like
Think
everything got a name now. But continue. Parkinson's law,
no,
Wolf's.
it does, yeah. I learned that from Hobby actually. I remember he was talking about that. But I think that's why the Pomodoro technique is so good, because you have 30 minutes or whatever amount of time you put, and all you're doing is focusing on that one thing during 30 minutes, as opposed to getting distracted by different tasks, and that takes away your mental energy and your focus. So you end up getting less done. But if you just focus for that 30 minutes, you get more done than you would have otherwise.
Yeah, true. And just yeah, I think when your like phone is away or your distractions are away, then you can really just hone in on whatever the task in front is. And I think we don't, which is crazy to say, but I don't think we realize how hard it is to stay focused for 30 minutes or 25
It's
minutes at a
hard.
time. It's very hard to be locked in for that amount of time. And not with how used we are to screens and notifications and dings and all these noises, like it's crazy how hard it is to put things down and like lock in. But you get better
I
at it.
have I have a funny story. So when I first had signed up for business coaching, like when I first got out of PT school, when I invested in a program, they sent me a lockbox. It's basically it's basically a safe, and they were encouraging us to put the phone or anything that distracts you in the safe, and you literally put the time that you want it to be locked for, and it's not going to open until that time passes. And on the weekends, they were like, "Oh, put your phone in here for at least 8 hours." And literally, I've never opened that thing. It's still sitting in the box. I never tried it just because I'm like literally, this is gonna sound so bad, but I'm scared to be without my phone for that long. Like, what if I don't want to work no more? What am I gonna do? So it's literally in the box. But that was the whole idea to like improve your focus. But it's still sitting, like I could probably give it away as a gift. I have not opened it at all.
Yeah.
This was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's a little much. I feel like I get the premise, but that's a little much. You could just go put your phone in the room and then go in a different room.
I, I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah, I ain't gonna use
I'm
it.
gonna get I was like, oh, this is extreme. This is a little too intense for me. I'm not ready for this level of discipline.
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
So another way of improving, or not even improving, but finding balance is saying no. Like saying no, like I said, no to that box. But no, seriously, saying no to things because every time you say yes to something, you're also saying no to something else. So you do want to be intentional about what you're saying yes and no to because your time is very valuable. And I think that's something that I struggled with um at first. Like I wanted to have it all. I wanted to do my business. I wanted to be in shape. I wanted to go to brunch every weekend. I just wanted to do everything. And I realized that if I wanted to have the success that I say I want to have, I can't say yes to every single thing because there's not enough hours in a day and I just don't have the social capacity or even mental capacity to say yes to everything. So that was something I had to learn the hard way. So now I don't really have um, much difficulty saying no to certain things anymore, which has been helpful in finding balance. Like now I feel a little bit more in control of my schedule and my life, and I've seen more success in my um, career and business that way.
Yeah, and I think once you're able to, when you're in a situation where you have to decide yes or no, you can just think about the priorities you have for the season that you're in. And if it aligns, something you say yes to. If it don't, something you say no to. So I think that simplifies um the decision making and whether to say yes or no. But I do think that's a skill in and of itself is being able to say no, even though you want to. Because I think you understand that like long term, it might take away from you in the present, whatever you decide to, if you decide to do it, it might take away from where you're supposed to be at down the line. And I think it's easy to say, yeah, like the easy thing is to say yes all the time, but being able to take a sec and look and say no is a skill in and of itself that I think we all need to work on. And then I will add to that by saying trying to batch your tasks or the things that you have done. If there's things that are in common, whether it's for I'm thinking of content creation, and you know you got to make videos for the month. Maybe you record all your if it's exercise, all your half kneeling exercise at one time, then all your machine-based exercises the next time, and then your standing and talking into the camera videos at one time. So then you have your content batched off by things that are similar or in similar positions or similar concepts that you can then use to get a lot more things done because you're just already in that zone. You already set it up for that demonstration or that topic, and now all you got to do is just record it. So I think just trying to batch things, even in like if you're meal prepping and you take some time to make all your meats or proteins and then your carbs and then like you just kind of batch the things that are similar and then you have that for a longer period of time instead of trying to do it day by day by day by day. It just gets overwhelming trying to record a lot of content or make food every single day. If you can batch, make your life a little easier, then your future you will thank you.
Yeah, and when we were talking about this episode before recording it, I was thinking about batching tasks and how effective it is. And I realized that when I try to do multiple things, it's not multiple things, but when I try to work on like one specific task and then go to something that's totally different, like I can feel that it's hard for me to regain focus. And a cool statistic that I found was it says that switching tasks can increase the time it takes to complete tasks by up to 40% because your brain is constantly adjusting to new information. And then it also takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to regain focus after switching tasks. So if you can do like tasks that require the same, um, I guess, same thought process, and it's kind of similar, it'll save you time. And then that way you'll have more balance. But if you're like trying to like cook every day and then you're trying to write content every day, you're trying to record videos every single day, like you're gonna spend more time like just switching between those tasks than if you were to just pick one designated time to do everything within that one task. And that's when I was making my knee pain program, that's exactly what I was struggling with because I would try to like do the written piece first, like written piece and then video, and then another written piece and then videos. And then I was like, this is taking too long. So I did all of the written stuff and then I just banged out all the videos and it was so much more effective.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. I think once you can get like you said, kind of batch things or things that are similar in nature, then it just makes it a boatload easier down the line. And I think it's that's less on your mental too. Like it's not as daunting on, oh, I gotta record this today. I gotta put together this email today. You've already done it. So it's all kind of set. So you don't gotta be, you can focus on maybe the other buckets because you've already devoted the time that you needed to the like creation side of things.
Yeah, so say you have, I have a question for you. Say you have um something that you want to start to work on or something you want to pursue and your schedule is already full right now and like you already like have a lot on your plate. How do you decide if you're going to pursue that? And if you do decide if you're going to pursue that, like how do you decide what is going to take the back seat?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think
Why are you laughing?
because I constantly deal with this, I feel like all the time. With wanting to learn more about like training and um, like how do you work on at like the basketball training side of things with the movement, strength side of things while also honing in on your like eye and like PTI and that's stuff that I think about all the time. So how do I um make sure I hit all three of them because they all three can relate to even just like my day-to-day job. So that's what it kind of starts with. It's kind of finding things that are similar in nature. So if I'm gonna learn about, um, let's say, shooting drills off the dribble or creating drills off the dribble. All right, what are the physical qualities that they need? What do I need to think about from a movement perspective? What do I need to think about from a frequency or duration? How do I make sure that they're learning or integrating the skill and getting the tasks that we want? So it's like, all right, I gotta make time to watch videos, see the movement. How could I implement this in clinic? So I'll have random patients be doing some like random stuff just because I'm like testing things out and seeing how they look. But for me, I think now a lot of the time is I decide to wake up earlier, which is probably not the best idea, but this is what works for me just because of the schedule. I'll wake up earlier, and I'll like dedicate 20, 30 minutes to watching a video or reading an article or something just to work, see if I can implement it into the routine. And over time, that is going to add up. And I have to remind myself that a lot of people don't do the hard stuff. So if you do the hard stuff long enough, the results will come out of it. So that's why I try and remind myself and think just because I like to, when I come home from work, it's for like wifey and baby time. So I don't watch a lot of videos during that time. If I'm working during the middle of the day, the morning's the only time I can get it in. So that's where when I decide to add something to the plate, that's when it's getting added to. So that's why I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of how I think about it.
No, that answers the question. And I think that just further emphasizes how like we operate in seasons of life, like different seasons. I would think that like as your kid gets older and they're doing more like things, you're gonna have more freedom to like capitalize on that time as well. So right now, just maybe a season, or it is a season of like building your schedule around that, but there's gonna be a time where you have to do a whole new schedule,
For
and that'll
sure.
be a different season.
Absolutely. No, you're totally 100% right. I think as she gets older, it'll get easier just because then she'll have school, she'll have friends, she'll have other activities to get into. And then that leaves more time for us to focus on what we want to focus on. But right now, it's 100% dependent on parents and just try and make sure that I help as much as I can when I'm home and when she's awake to um offload my wife a little bit and try and be as present as I can. Because it also seems like time's going by so fast and she learning new things every day. And I'm like, yeah, you don't want to miss any of this stuff. So think understanding that, work is work, cool, like it's cool, but like watching and being part of the development process for your kiddo or someone who looks up to you is very important because they're the future of what the world is going to look like. So making sure that they're ready for any and everything that comes their way. So that's kind of what goes into my decision making now. It's like, all right, does it get in the way of my family time? And if it does, then it has to be something that is going to benefit in the short and long term.
Yes, I agree. So we gave a lot of um balance and time management tips today. So for anybody listening, Mang, what would you say is something that they can do after listening to this and like take action right away? Like what is one thing they can do?
I think figure out what you want to work on, and then all decisions that you make are geared towards that one thing that you want to work on.
Yeah. And then build your time based on that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree, and I would say that goes hand in hand with the whole saying no, because if you find out what you want to work on and something comes up that doesn't really align with that, then it's easy for you to make that decision. So if you're listening to this, main takeaways are get clear on what you want and then build your entire schedule and your activities around that. And if you guys have any other tips for balance and time management, drop them in the comments. And if you're listening on any podcast streaming services, give us a 5-star review and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.